When a person dies, they leave behind many things: their possessions, the memories of those who knew them. In other words, their legacy. Sometimes that legacy can be very special indeed. One for His Lordship and One for the Road by Ray Bradbury. Read by Karl. Someone's born. It may take the best part of a day for the news to ferment, percolate, or otherwise circumnavigate across the Irish meadows to the nearest town, and the nearest pub, which is Heber's Finn. But let someone die, and a whole symphonic band lifts in the fields and hills. The ground ta-ta slams across country to ricochet off the pub slates and shake the drinkers to calamitous cries for more. So it was this hot summer day. The pub was no sooner open, aired, and mobbed than Finn, at the door, saw a dark flurry up the road. "That's Doone," wondered Finn. Doone was a local anthem sprinter, fast at getting out of cinema ahead of the damn national tune, and swift at bringing news. "And the bad news is bad," muttered Finn. "It's that fast he's running." "Ha!" cried Doone as he leaped across the sill. "It's done, and he's dead." The mob at the bar turned. Doone enjoyed his moment of triumph, making them wait. "Ah, God, here's a drink. Maybe that'll make you talk." Finn shoved the glass in Doone's waiting paw. Doone wet his whistle and arranged the facts. "Himself," he gasped at last. "Lord Kilgotten, dead. Another an hour passed." "Ah, God," said Warren all quietly. "Bless the old man. A sweet nature. A dear chap." For Lord Kilgotten had wandered their fields, pastures, barns, and this bar all the years of their lives. His departure like the Normans running back to France, or the damned Brits pouring out of Bombay. "A fine man," said Finn, drinking to the memory, even though he did spend 2 weeks a year in London. "Well, how old was he?" asked Brannigan. 85, 88? We thought he might have been buried long since." "Men like that," said Doone. "God has to hit him with an axe to scare him off the place. Paris now. We thought they might have slain him years past, but no. Drink, that should have drowned him, but he swam for the shore. No. It was that teeny boat wedding in the field's midst an hour ago, and him out of the tree picking strawberries with his 19-year-old secretary lady." "Jesus," said Finn. "There's no strawberries this time of year." "It was her he hit him with a bolt of fever, burned to a crisp." That fired up a 21-gun salute of laughs that hushed itself down when they considered the subject, and more townsfolk arrived to breathe the air and bless himself. "I wonder," mused Heber Finn at last, in a voice that would make the Valhalla gods sit still at table and not scratch. "I wonder, what's become of all that wine? The wine, that is, which Lord Kilgotten had stashed in barrels and bins, by the quarts and the tons, by the scores and precious thousands in his cellars and attics, and, who knows, under his bed." "Aye," said everyone stunned, suddenly remembered. "Aye, sure. What?" It'd been left, no doubt, to some damn Yank drift-about cousin their nephew, corrupted by Rome, driven mad by Paris, who jet in tomorrow, and who seals and drink, grab and run, and Kilcock and us left beggared and buggered on the road behind," said Doone, all in one breath. "Aye." Their voices like muffled dark velvet drums marched toward the night. "Aye." "There are no relatives," said Finn. "No dumb Yank nephews or dimwit nieces falling out of gondolas in Venice, but swimming this way. I've made it my business to know." Finn waited. It was his moment now. All stared. All leaned to hear his mighty proclamation. "Why not, I've been thinking, if Kilgotten, by God, left all 10,000 bottles of Burgundy and Bordeaux to the citizens of the loveliest town in Ire. To us." There was an antique uproar of comment on this, cut across when the front door flaps burst open, and Finn's wife, who really visited the sty, stepped in, glared around and snapped, "Funeral's in an hour." "An hour?" cried Finn. "Why, it's only just cold." "Noon's the time," said the wife, growing taller the more she looked at this dreadful tribe. "The doc and the priest have just come from the place. Funerals was his lordship's will. Uncivilized," said Father Kelly, "and no hole dug." "But there is," said Doc. "Hanrahan was supposed to do yesterday, but took on a fit of meanness and survived the night. I treated him, but the man persists. Meanwhile, this is hole unfilled. Kilgarten can have it, dirt and headstone. All's invited. Move your bums. The double-winged doors whiffled shut. The mystic woman was gone. A funeral, cried Doon, preferred to sprint. No, Finn beamed. Get out, pub's closed. Awake! Even Christ, gasped Doon, mopping the sweat from his brow, wouldn't climb down off the cross to walk on a day like this. The heat, said Mulligan, is intolerable. Coats off, they trudged up the hill, past the Kilgarten gatehouse to encounter the town priest, Father Patrick Kelly, doing the same. He all but had his collar off, and was beat-faced in the bargain. It's hell's own day, he agreed. None of us will keep. While the rush, said Finn, matching fiery stride for stride with the holy man. I smell a rat. What's up? Aye, said the priest. There was a secret, codicil in the will. I knew it, said Finn. What? Asked the crowd, fermenting close behind in the sun. I would have crossed it right if it got out, was all Father Kelly would say, his eyes on the graveyard gates. You'll find out at the penultimate moment. Is that the moment before the moment after the end, Father? Asked Doon, instantly. Ah, you're so dumb you're pitiful, sighed the priest. Get your ass through that gate. Don't fall in the hole. Doon did just that. The others followed, their faces assuming a darker tone as they passed through. The sun, as if to observe this, moved behind a cloud, and the sweet breeze came up for some moment of relief. There's the hole, the priest nodded. Line up on both sides of the pass, for God's sake, and fix your ties. If you have some, and to check your flies above all. Let's run a nice show for Kilgarten, and here he comes. And here indeed came Lord Kilgarten, in a box carried on the planks of one of his farm wagons. A simple good soul, to be sure. Behind that wagon, a procession of other vehicles, cars, trucks that stretched half down the hill in the now once more piercing light. What a procession, cried Finn. I never seen the like, cried Doon. Shut up, said the priest politely. My God, said Finn, do you see the coffin? We see, Finn, we see, gasped all. For the coffin, trundling by, was beautifully wrought, firmly nailed together with silver and gold nails, but the special strange wood of it. Plankings from wine crates, staves from boxes that sailed from France only to collide and sink in Lord Kilgarten's cellars. A storm of exultation swept the men from Finn's pub. They toppled on their heels. They seized each other's elbows. In the words, Finn, whispered Doon. Tell us the names. Finn eyes the coffin made of vintage shipping crates and elastics hailed. Pull up my tongue and jump on it. Look, the Chateau Lafitte Rothschild, 1970. Chateau Neuf de Pepe, 68. Upside down that label, Les Cortons, downside up, Les Lagulniers. What style, my God, what class. Wouldn't mind so much being buried in burnt, stamped, labeled wood like that myself. I wonder, mused Doon, can he read the labels from inside? Put a sock in it, muttered the priest. Here comes the rest. If the body in the box was not enough to pull clouds over the sun, this second arrival caused an even greater ripple of uneasiness to oil the sweating men. It was as if, Doon recalled later, someone had slipped, fallen in the grave, broken an ankle, and spoiled the whole afternoon. For the last part of the procession was a series of cars and trucks, ramshackle loaded with French vineyard crates. Finally, a great old brewery wagon from early Guinness days, drawn by a team of proud white horses, draped in black, and sweating with the surprises they drew behind them. I'll be damned, said Finn. Lord Kilgarten's brought his own wake with him. Hurrah! Was a cry. What a dear soul. Must have known the day would ignite a nun, or kindle a priest, and our tongues on our chests. Gangway, let it pass. The man stood aside as all the wagons, carrying strange labels from southern France and northern Italy, marking tidal sounds of bulk liquids, lumbered into the churchyard. Some day, whispered Doon, we must raise a statue to Kilgarten, a philosopher of friends. Pull up your socks, said the priest. It's too soon to tell. For here comes something worse than an undertaker. What could be worse? With the last of the wine wagons drawn up about the grave, a single man strode up the road, hat on, coat button, cuffs properly shot, Shoes polished against all reason, mustache waxed and cool, unmelted, a print case like a lady's purse tucked under his clenched arm, and about him an air of the ice houses, a thing fresh born from a snowy vault, tongue like an icicle, stare like a frozen pond. Jesus, said Finn. It's a lawyer, said Dune. All stood aside. For the lawyer, for that is what it was, strode past like Moses the Red Sea obeyed, or King Louis on a stool, or the haughtiest tart on Piccadilly. Choose one. Is Kilgutton's law, hissed Muldoon. I see him stalking Dublin like the apocalypse, with a lie for a name, Clement. Half-ass Irish, full-ass Briton, the worst. What could be worse than death? Someone whispered. We, muddled the priest, shall soon see. Gentlemen, a voice called. The mob turned. Lawyer Clement, at the rim of the grave, took the prim briefcase from under his arm, opened it, and drew forth the symbolized and ribboned document, the beauty of which boggled the eye and rammed and sank the heart. Beware of obsequious, he said. Before Father Kelly orates, I have a message. This codicil and Lord Kilgutton's will, which I will read aloud. But it's the 11th commandment, murmured the priest, eyes down. What would the 11th commandment be? Asked Dune, scowling. Why not, thou shalt shut up and listen, said the priest. Shh. For the lawyer was reading from his ribbon document, and his voice floated on a hot summer wind like this. And whereas my wines are the finest, they are that, said Finn. And whereas the greatest labels for across the world fill my cellars, and whereas the people of this town, Kilcock, do not appreciate such things, but prefer the, hard stuff. Who says? Cried Dune. Back in your ditch, warned the priest. I do hereby proclaim and pronounce, read the lawyer with a great smarmy squirk of satisfaction, that contrary to the old adage, a man can indeed take it with him. And so I so order, write, and sign this codicil to the last will and testament in what may well be the final month of my life. Signed, William Lord Kilgutton. Last month, on the 7th. The lawyer stopped, folded the paper and stood, eyes shut, waiting for the thunderclap that will follow the lightning bolt. Does that mean, asked Dune Winsink, that the Lord intends to... Someone pulled a cork out of a bottle. It was like a fusillade that shot all the men in their tracks. It was only, of course, the good lawyer Clement, at the rim of the damned grave, corkscrewing and yanking open the plug from a bottle of Le Vieux Fromage 73. Is this the wake, then? Dune laughed nervously. It is not, mourned the priest. With a smile of summer satisfaction, Clement the lawyer poured the wine, glug by glug, down into the grave, over the wine carton box in which Lord Kilgutton's thirsty bones were hid. Hold on, he's gone mad. Grab the bottle. No! There was a vast explosion, like that from the crowd's throat that had just seen its soccer champion slain midfield. Wait, my God! Quick, run, get the Lord! Dumb, muttered Finn. His lordship's in that box, and his wine is in the grave. Stunned by this unbelievable calamity, the mob could only stare at the last of the first bottle clashed down into the holy earth. Clement handed the balls to Dune and uncorked the second. Now wait just one moment, cried the voice of the day of judgment. It was, of course, Father Kelly, who stepped forth, bringing his higher law with him. Do you mean to say, cried the priest, his cheeks blazing, his eyes smoldering in the bright sun, you're going to dispense all that stuff in Kilgutton's pit? That, said the lawyer, is my intent. He began to pour the second bottle, but the priest stiff-armed him to tilt the wine back. And you mean for us to just stand and watch your blasphemy? At a wake, yes, that would be the polite thing to do. The lawyer moved to pour again. Just hold it right there. The priest stared around, up, down, at his friends from the pub, at Finn the spiritual leader, at the sky where God hid, at the earth where Kilgutton lay playing Mum's the Word, and at last in lawyer Clement at his damned ribboned codicil. Beware, man, you are provoking civil strife. Yah! Cried everyone, still in the air, fists on their sides, grinding and ungrinding invisible rocks. What year is this wine? Ignoring them, Clement Conway eyed the label in his hands. Lake Orcon, 1970. The best wine in the finest year. Excellent. He stopped free of the priest and let the wine spill. Do something, shouted Doon. Have you no curse handy? Priests do not curse, said Father Kelly. But Finn, Doon, Hanahan, Burke, jump, knock heads. The priests marched off and the men rushed after to knock their heads on a bent-down ring and a great whisper with the father. In the middle of the conference, the priest stood up to see what Clement was doing. The lawyer was on his third bottle. Quick, said Doon, he'll waste a lot. A fourth cork popped to another outcry from Finn's team, the Thirsty Warriors, as they would later dub themselves. Finn, the priest was heard to say, deeping their heads together, you're a genius. I am, agreed Finn, and the huddle broke and the priest hurried back to the grave. Would you mind, sir, he said, grabbing the bottle of the lawyer's grip, reading one last time that damned codicil? Pleasure. And it was. The lawyer's smile flashed as he fluttered the ribbons and snapped the will. Now, contrary to the old adage, a man can indeed take it with him. He finished and folded the paper, and tried another smile, which worked to his own satisfaction at least. He reached for the bottle confiscated by the priest. Hold on. Father Kelly stepped back. He gave a look to the crowd who waited on each fine word. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Lawyer, sir. Does it anywhere say there just how the wine is to get it into the grave? Into the grave is into the grave, said the lawyer. As long as it finally gets there, that's the important thing. Do we agree? Asked the priest with a strange smile. I can pour it over my shoulder or toss it in the air, said the lawyer. As long as it lights to either side or atop the coffin, when it comes down, all's well. Good, exclaimed the priest. Men, one squad here. One battalion over there. Line up. Doon? Sir. Spread the rations. Jump. Sir. Doon jumped. To a great uproar of men bustling, lining up. Aye, said the lawyer. I'm going to find the police. Which is me, said a man at the far side of the mob. Officer Banyan, your complaint? Stunned, Lawyer Clement could only blink, and at last, in a squashed voice, bleat, I'm leaving. You'll not make it past the gate alive, said Doon cheerily. I, said the lawyer, am staying. But, inquired Father Kelly, as the corks were pulled and the corkscrew flashed brightly along the line, you go against the letter of the law? No, explained the priest calmly. We but shift the punctuation, cross new T's, dot new I's. Done shut, cried Finn, for all was in readiness. On both sides of the grave the men waited, each with a full bottle of vintage Chateau Lafite Rothschild, or Le Coton or Chianti. Do we drink it all? Asked Doon. Shut your gab, observed the priest. He eyed the sky. O Lord, the men bowed their heads and grabbed off their caps. For Lord, for what we're about to receive, make us truly thankful. And thank you, Lord, for the genius of Heber Finn, who thought of this. Aye, said all gently. 'Twas nothing, said Finn, blushing. And bless this wine, which may circumnavigate along the way, we'll finally wind out where it should be going. And if today and tonight won't do, and all the stuff not drunk, bless us as we return each night until the deed is done, and the soul of the wine's at rest. Ah, you do speak, dear, muttered Doon. Shh, hissed all. In the spirit of this time, Lord, shall we not ask our good lawyer friend Clement, in the fullness of his heart, to join with us? Someone slipped the bottle of the best in the lawyer's hand. He seized it, lest it should break. And finally, Lord, bless the old Lord Kilgotten, whose years of saving up now help us in this hour of putting away. Amen. Amen, said all. "'Tenshun!' cried Flynn. The men stiffened and lifted their bottles. "'One for his lordship,' said the priest, as add Finn, "'one for the road.' There was a deep sound of drinking, and years later, Doon remembered a glad sound of laughter from the box on the grave. "'It's all right,' said the priest in amaze. "'Yes,' the lawyer nodded, having heard. "'It's all right.' The end.